All right, welcome back. Today, we're not just going to look at the highlight reels of a basketball legend. We're going to deconstruct the entire ethos of Kobe Bryant, how a prodigy with just unbelievable talent forged a mindset that would come to define not just him, but an entire generation. This is the story of how the Mamba mentality was born. So, this quote right here, this is basically our North Star for this whole deep dive. It's the core idea we're going to unpack. I mean, how did one of the most relentless and, let's be honest, fiercest competitors in sports history create a philosophy that wasn't just for him, but was designed to inspire greatness in everybody else? So, let's get into it. Let's trace that journey.
Okay, so Act 1. This is all about the meteoric rise of a young player whose skill was, only matched by his supreme confidence. But, and this is the key part, his path to the top, it was anything but normal. What's so fascinating about this timeline is the foundation it lays. Growing up in Italy made Kobe a cultural outsider when he came back to the States, which really kind of forced him to be self-reliant. He wasn't just another high school phenom. He was this global kid with an obsessive focus who, at just 17 years old, decided to skip college and go straight to the NBA. For a guard back then, that was almost unheard of.
Well, that raw confidence was pretty quickly harnessed by the legendary coach Phil Jackson. When Jackson came in with his famous triangle offense, all that individual talent got forged into a dynasty. And you can literally watch Kobe's evolution right here in the numbers. Just look how his points per game average in the finals skyrockets each year. That's his transformation from being a key player to becoming a totally unstoppable force on the world's biggest stage. But all that success was built on this partnership of opposites. Shaq and Kobe were a total study in conflicting ideas of what greatness even meant. Shaq was just pure physical dominance. Kobe was all about obsessive, almost monastic discipline. And this philosophical divide, it created so much friction. So even while they were winning, that tension was just simmering under the surface the whole time. And it eventually led to the end of one of the most dominant duos the sport has ever seen. On that breakup, well, it leads us right into the toughest part of his whole career. This is Act 2, the Crucible. It was a series of events that would absolutely shatter his public image and force him to completely reinvent himself from the ground up. So in 2003, Bryant was charged with felony sexual assaults. The case just exploded into this huge national media firestorm. And while the criminal charge was eventually dismissed, the damage to his clean-cut image was catastrophic. Endorsement deals with huge companies like McDonald's and Nutella were dropped. His whole reputation was just in tatters. And his career was at a serious crossroads. So, how in the world did he respond to a crisis like that? He created an alter ego, the Black Mamba. Now, this is so important. This wasn't just some cool nickname he gave himself. It was a psychological survival mechanism. He was inspired by the lethal assassin from the movie Kill Bill, and it was just a masterclass in compartmentalization. It was a way to build a wall around his chaotic personal life and channel all the public anger and hostility he was facing directly into how he performed on the court. And this number? Well, this is what came out of it. 81 points. On January 22nd, 2006, Kobe scored 81 points in a single game. It's the second highest total in NBA history. This was the ultimate on-court manifestation of the Black Mamba, a ruthless, singularly focused scoring machine, just completely immune to the outside world. This was the Black Mamba, fully born. So out of all that fire, something brand new was forged. This is Act 3. How a survival instinct turned into this whole codified philosophy, a mindset that would go on to define everything that came next, his second run of championships and his entire legacy. And eventually, he actually broke this whole mindset down into 5 key pillars, a real framework for excellence. First, fearlessness, basically seeing failure as just data, right? Then relentlessness, the endless study of your craft. Resilience, the ability to bounce back from absolutely anything. Obsession, that all-consuming drive to be better. And finally, passion, the love for the process that fuels the entire thing. And these weren't just abstract ideas. He lived by them, and the examples are just legendary. Okay, let's talk about resilience. In 2013, he ruptures his Achilles tendon. For most players, that is a career-ending injury, period. But before anyone could even help him off the floor, what does he do? He limps to the free throw line and calmly sinks 2 shots. This was way more than just toughness. It was about an absolute commitment to his duty no matter what the personal cost was. And then you have obsession. Man, the stories are just legendary. Workouts starting at 4 a.m. We're talking 5-hour training sessions before the rest of the team even showed up for practice. This wasn't just working hard. It was a level of dedication so extreme that it actually, isolated him from his own teammates a lot of the time. Okay, so that refined mentality, that leads us to the final act of his career and his life. In this last act, we're going to see how the Mamba mentality led not just to new championships, but to this profound global influence and a hugely successful second career off the court. The 2008 Olympics. This was a massive turning point. He wasn't just another player on that redeemed team, he was its undeniable leader. His pre-dawn workouts set a completely new standard for a young team full of superstars. He even intentionally ran through his Lakers teammate Pau Gasol in the first game against Spain to send a crystal clear message. This was about winning gold, not about friendship. That brand of leadership really cemented his status as a global icon, especially in China. And all that leadership, it brought him right back to the very top. His fifth and final title came in 2010 in this brutal 7-game series against their rivals, the Celtics. And what's so incredible here is that in the deciding Game 7, he had a terrible shooting night. But instead of just forcing shots, he just willed his team to a win by grabbing 15 rebounds. It was pure grit. And it proved he could win without Shaq, silencing all the critics.
After he hung it up, he didn't just fade away. He transitioned almost seamlessly into this second act. He took that same Mamba mentality and just applied it to storytelling and to business. He won an Oscar for his animated short, Dear Basketball. He co-founded a venture capital firm, Bryant Stibel, with over $2 billion in assets. He wasn't just a retired athlete. He was out there building a whole new empire.
And maybe, just maybe, his most important final role was this one, becoming a champion for women's sports. Driven by his daughter Gianna's passion for the game, he became the most prominent male advocate for the WNBA. He coached Gigi's team, he mentored a whole new generation of female stars, and really, he inspired this whole global movement around what it means to be a girl dad. So that brings us all the way back to the beginning. The Mamba ethos, at the end of the day, it wasn't just about making baskets. It became this universal framework for the relentless pursuit of excellence. It's about that constant quest to be the absolute best version of yourself in whatever it is you do. And that kind of leaves you with this one big question, right? How do you take that process, that dedication, and apply it to your own life?